Hi, I'm Zach Blackburn. Welcome to Flexography. We're going to install a die. So when we install a die, there's a handful of components that we're going to need. We're going to need the die. We're going to need the blocks that go on the end of the die. Then we're going to need our assist roller. Okay, so let's look over here at the die station. So here's the die station. The gate opens up. We have actually 3 different die stations. And in the scheme of things, it doesn't really matter which one you use. They're all the same, and it's for actually kind of layering some finishing components. But we're going to go ahead and use this one right here that has the T-bars on it. I'm going to take those off. Get them out of the way. I'm going to set them to the side for the time being. Next, I'm going to pull out the die. So here's what a die looks like. Notice that there's a gear on one end and there's not a gear on the other end. So the gears always go away from you. So the other thing to take note of is that it does have a blade on it. The blade is pretty sharp, but it's if you touch it, it's not like it's going to rip your finger open. See, I'm touching it right there. But it probably would not be a good idea to just grab hold of it. All right, but overall, it's just be aware that there's some sharp edges. Now, on both ends, there are some washers. Notice that on the end that doesn't have a gear, that there's more washers. And I'll show you why in just a second. So to install this, we're going to need our die blocks. Now there are 2 different kinds of die blocks. There's this one here. See how it's got like the rounded edges on it? And so there's that one. And then there's the one with like the notched sharp edges. The one with the notched sharp edges are the ones that's going to go on the gear side. Now when I slide it on here, see how the block has a thin side and a thick side? The thin side goes towards the gear. And you see how like it's all scratched on the inside? Well, that kind of tells you that that goes towards the gear, where this side is not stretched out. So we're here, I'm going to just slide that on, and I'm going to walk over to the press. I only need to put the one block on to begin with. I'm going to come over to my station. I'm going to do my best not to bang the blades at all. I don't want to bang the blades on anything that will damage the die, rendering it useless. I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to slide it into place. So it slides into place. Now I'm going to take my the rounded die block, and again you can see like this side's worn. That kind of tells you that that's the side that goes towards the washer. So it's the fat side going forward. So I'm just going to take it, and the reason that it's rounded is because it can twist into place. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to twist it right into place. Now, I give it a little side-to-side shake to see if it shifts. Now this one doesn't really shift, but if it did, I could just add or take away the washers until there was no side-to-side motion. So I got no side-to-side motion. I also want to make sure that the gears are meshing. And what I mean is like the gears are coming into contact like that. And all I have to do is kind of just roll it forward, backward, and just make sure that they are, are engaged. So I have the die in place. Now we have the second roller. And the second roller is called the assist roller. Now this roller is kind of heavy. Or it's at least heavier than the die. And the whole purpose of it is to add an evenly distributed weight across the die so it cuts into the substrate. So one thing to notice about this one, it's got 2 blocks on the end, and they just, both skinny sides go toward the roller. I'm just going to take it, set it in here, and I'm going to just lower it down. Now what I really don't want to do is get my hand in between these 2 rollers. That could definitely cause a little cut. But you just look, I have the sides of it, and I just gently lower it down. No problem. All right. Next, I'm going to go get those T-bars that held it in place earlier. So the T-bars, the thing is like, you got the 2 places on the sides that hold it in place. Then you have the shaft in the middle that actually puts on the pressure. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that it's locked in place before there's any pressure. So I just come in here, flip it into position, tighten it down. So it's tight, no pressure, there's no contact right there. I'll repeat that same process. I'm just going to come here, put it into position, lock it in place first. It's not touching the die blocks yet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist this down until it's just resting on that die block. I don't want to put any pressure on it, just sitting right on the top of it. No weight, no force, just sitting on it. And at that point, I can see if it is if it's cutting. Now, in order for it to cut properly, the press needs to be running. The substrate needs to be moving whenever we do it. So let me make sure all my gates are closed. Since I'm about to start the press, I'm going to say clear, so that I make sure that nobody is near the press. I'm also going to take my lanyard off. That's a really bad idea. And I'm going to start it up. Clear. So I started with the green button, and this is my speed right here. I want it really on the slowest speed possible. Now that it's rolling, I can go and I want to put even pressure. I want to twist both of them at the same time. Not one side then the other. If you twist one side then the other, it's going to go in crooked. So I'm going to twist it, and it doesn't need a ton of pressure. It's just nice and snug. And there we go. I can see that it looks like it is cutting, but I'm going to inspect it. So to inspect it, I'm going to stop it. Now this particular die has 4 squares that are cut out. Or 6 squares, I'm sorry. I'm just going to peel them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So it's installed. I checked it to make sure that it's cutting properly, and our die is good to go.